artifacts and PLO alignment with the Master of Arts in Education program at National University. I am using QuickTime Player, so my camera may not be visible the entire time during presentation. So this is so you know it's me. I will be minimized and go through the presentation. I also would like to let you know I will be reading off of a script to stay within a time limit. Today's presentation is organized into 5 sections. First, I will provide a brief overview of the 4 MAE program learning outcomes. Next, I will present artifacts from each course I completed in the program. For each artifact, I will explain its alignment to the appropriate program learning outcome and discuss whether it represents an introductory, developing, or mastery experience. Finally, I will conclude with a reflection on my professional growth and explain how my portfolio demonstrates mastery of all 4 program learning outcomes. The Master of Arts in Education program is centered around 4 program learning outcomes. PLO 1 focuses on integrating advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills. PLO 2 focuses on designing learning experiences that include learner characteristics, customized learning, and assessment as learning. PLO 3 focuses on applying practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction. Finally, PLO 4 focuses on developing reflective practices grounded in learning science and professional ethics. As I discuss each artifact, I will explain how the assignment demonstrates one or more of these outcomes and how my knowledge and skills developed throughout the program. This table summarizes the artifacts included in my portfolio and their alignment with the PLOs. Each artifact has been identified as an introductory, developing, or mastery experience to illustrate my progression within this program. The table demonstrates how my learning evolved over time. Early coursework introduced foundational concepts, later assignments allowed me to apply and strengthen those skills, and my final graduate coursework and professional teaching artifacts demonstrate independent application and mastery. The progression reflects both my academic growth throughout the MAE program and the continued development of my professional practice as an educator. For this assignment, I developed a research question, analyzed an empirical research study, evaluated the research methods, examined the findings and limitations, and considered how the results could improve instructional practice. This artifact aligns with PLO 3, which focuses on applying practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction. It demonstrates this outcome because I learned how to critically evaluate educational research, analyze evidence, and connect research findings to instructional decision-making. Rather than just simply finding research, I learned how practitioner research can guide improvements in teaching and learning. I identified this artifact as introductory experience because it was my first opportunity to develop practitioner research skills. These foundational skills prepared me for more advanced practitioner research assignments later in the MAE program. For this assignment, I designed a technology-enhanced instructional website using the ADDIE instructional design model. The website integrated learning theory, Common Core state standards, ISTE standards, authentic reading assessments, and instructional resources into one digital platform. This artifact aligns with PLO 1, which focuses on integrating advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills. It demonstrates this outcome because I intentionally integrated digital tools into instructional planning rather than simply using technology as an add-on. Designing the website required me to combine instructional design, assessment, and technology to create a meaningful learning resource for learners. I identified this artifact as both an introductory and developing experience because it introduced me to purposeful technology integration while allowing me to independently apply those concepts through the creation of a complete instructional website. This assignment required me to examine my beliefs about equity, inclusion, bilingualism, culturally responsive teaching, and student-centered learning while connecting those beliefs to educational research. This artifact aligns with PLO 4, which focuses on developing reflective practices grounded in learning science and professional ethics. It demonstrates this outcome because I reflected on how educational research and professional ethics influence my instructional decisions and professional responsibilities. The assignment also encouraged me to think critically about how my philosophy will continue to evolve throughout my career. I identified this artifact as both an introductory and developing experience because it introduced me to reflective practice while strengthening my professional identity as an educator. My artifact from EDA 641 is an organizational culture analysis of the California State University, Chico. Using Shane's organizational culture model, I analyzed the university's culture, leadership practices, mission, and organizational effectiveness before developing evidence-based recommendations for improvement. This artifact aligns with PLO 4, which focuses on developing a reflective practice grounding in learning science and professional ethics. It demonstrates this outcome because I used educational research to critically evaluate an educational organization and reflect on how leadership influences institutional success. I then applied those findings to develop practical recommendations supported by evidence. I identified this artifact as both a developing and mastery experience because it required me to independently apply reflective leadership skills and research-based decision-making to solve a complex educational problem. For this assignment, I explored academic language development, language acquisition strategies, culturally responsive teaching, and research-based instructional practices that support multilingual learners. This artifact aligns with PLO 2, which focuses on designing learning experiences that include learner characteristics, customized learning, and assessment as learning. It demonstrates this outcome because understanding language acquisition and learner characteristics strengthened my ability to design instruction that responds to the diverse academic and linguistic needs of multilingual students. I identified this artifact as both an introductory and developing experience because it introduced me to language acquisition theory while allowing me to apply those concepts to instructional planning. For this assignment, I developed a research question, synthesized peer-reviewed literature, analyzed evidence across multiple studies, identified instructional implications, and presented my findings. This artifact aligns with PLO 3, which focuses on applying practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction. It demonstrated this outcome because I developed a research question, synthesized educational literature, and used evidence from multiple studies to inform instructional recommendations for English learners. This assignment strengthened my ability to use research as a foundation for instructional decision-making. I identified this artifact as a developing experience because it expanded the practitioner research skills I first developed in MAE 610 and prepared me for designing my own practitioner research proposal in MAE 670. For this assignment, I designed a professional development learning experience that taught educators about self-management skills within SEL and classroom supports. I also developed an evaluation plan that used authentic assessment and data-driven decision-making to determine whether participants understood the professional development and could apply the concepts into their own classrooms. This artifact aligns with PLO 2, which focuses on designing learning experiences that include learner characteristics, customized learning, and assessment as learning. It demonstrates this outcome because I designed a professional learning experience that considered participant needs while incorporating assessment as learning to evaluate understanding and guide future professional development. Rather than simply delivering information, I created an evaluation process that measured learning and informed future instructional decisions. I identified this artifact as a mastery experience because I independently designed both the professional development and the evaluation plan while applying instructional design, authentic assessment, and evidence-based decision making. I currently hold a cleared California teaching credential. This is a first artifact of a classroom syllabus. The syllabus communicates classroom expectations, grading policies, instructional procedures, routines, and student supports. Students access this syllabus digitally through Canvas, allowing them and their families to review course expectations, assessment policies, and resources throughout the entire school year. This artifact aligns with PLO 1, which focuses on integrating advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills. It demonstrates this outcome because I integrate digital tools through Canvas while organizing instruction, assessment expectation, communication, and classroom resources into one accessible learning platform. Over the years, I have continuously refined this resource based on student needs, classroom experience, and reflective practice. I identified this artifact as a mastery experience because it represents instructional practices that I have independently designed, implemented, evaluated, and refined throughout my professional teaching career. My second teaching artifact is a Canterbury Tales board game project that I designed for my high school English students. Students collaborated using Google Docs to organize ideas, research board game layouts, and design concepts using online resources, and then created an original board game demonstrating their understanding of literary elements such as theme, characterization, and major events of the Canterbury Tales. This artifact aligns with PLO 1, which focuses on integrating advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills. It demonstrates this outcome because I intentionally integrated digital tools into the planning, collaboration, and research process while using project-based learning and authentic assessment to evaluate student understanding. Students use technology to collaborate, organize ideas, and research before applying their learning through a creative performance task. I identified this artifact as a mastery experience because it reflects an instructional approach that I have independently designed, implemented, assessed, and refined throughout my career. My final graduate artifact comes from MAE 670 as a practitioner research proposal. For this assignment, I developed my own practitioner research question, completed a literature synthesis, designed a research methodology, data collection plan, and developed a proposal to investigate an instructional concern relevant to my own classroom. This artifact aligns with PLO 3, which focuses on applying practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction. It demonstrates this outcome because I independently completed every stage of the practitioner research process. I used educational research to justify my methodology, developed a systematic plan for collecting data, and created a proposal that could be used to improve future instructional practice. I identified this artifact as a mastery experience because it represents the entirety of the practitioner research skills I developed throughout the MAE program. Each artifact represents an important stage in my development, beginning with introductory experiences that established foundational knowledge, progressing through developing experiences that strengthened my instructional and research skills, and mastery experience that demonstrate independent professional practice. Throughout this program, I strengthened my ability to integrate technology into instruction, design meaningful learning experiences that support diverse learners, apply practitioner research to improve instructional practice, and engage in reflective practices grounded in educational research and professional ethics. I appreciate how this program has strengthened both my professional knowledge and my classroom practice. The experiences represented in this portfolio have reinforced my commitment to evidence-based instruction, meaningful assessment, and practitioner research, technology integration, and lifelong professional growth. Thank you so much.